Hi friends, welcome back. Welcome to part 3 of the Binder Junk Journal series. I am so happy you are here and so happy to begin the next chapter of our little adventure here. I'm going to open up the binder and zoom in a little bit. And first, I just want to take the opportunity to thank everybody for their wonderful support, your comments, your messages. I am just so enjoying doing this project with you. I have no idea where it's going to take me. I'm as surprised as you are about how it all comes together, but I am just excited that you are here with me. So today, my goal for today's video is to make the template for the inside pieces here. And also, gonna be loud. And also, what I would really like to do is start the first page in my book, and we'll see how long that takes. But let's start and just jump right in. Okay, so we're going to make the template from this file folder. And if I center this file folder on this piece, I love that it has a little bit on the top and a little bit on the bottom, which is really, really good. And it also means that I don't think there's a top and a bottom. I think that it would fold out correctly each direction. And I don't know if that makes sense, but we will look at it. So if I made a hole here, I made a hole here, and I made a hole here. The problem is, well, let me show you. It's going to make sense when I do it. Let me make a mark here because this is the length that I would want it. I mean the width, not the length. And the template is going to make it super easy. Do you remember in my intro I said this is going to be a really simple junk journal because the file folder size and the vertical nature of the kit, which if you're using scrapbook pages or vertical book pages, the same thing, will make it easy to do the basic spreads. Okay. So follow along in my head with me. If I put the holes here, it will open like a book, but it's going to be stuck on that piece of metal. The holes are going to be right in here, and it's not going to open correctly when it gets on. When I go to turn the page, this is in the middle, right? And as I get more and more pages, I really won't be able to open this spread. So what needs to happen is I need to have the holes on the edge so that the spread either opens this way out or this way out. And I think the way that my brain works and the way that I think because this side of the book is there, we want the spread to open this way, not this way. And I'm sure you're not following along. I'm sure you're like, what the heck are you talking about, Michelle? So what that means is I need to put my holes here, and I need to trim down this side here. Hang in there with me, folks. It's all going to make sense. I promise. I promise. All right, so let's take about yay amount off here. You know that measurement, yay amount? Did you learn that amount in school? And here I take off yay amount. So now if I make punch holes here, So now I'm going to measure where the holes go, and I'm going to punch the holes with a hole punch. I had really hoped to not have to do voiceovers on this video and just run it in real time, but the video ended up being an hour and a half long, so I'm back to doing voiceovers to cut time here and there. All right. Now, let's see if my brain figured this out properly. If this is our template and we use our file folders and we cut the page like this and put the holes like this, if we load it in our book this way, we can have some kind of pretty spread here. Then we can turn it and we can open up into a beautiful large spread here, right? If we flip it like so, we can do all sorts of things. Like we could remove this piece here. We could fold out into a pocket and fold this way. We can sew here and make a pocket. Like this allows us to do many, many things. So if this is my template, and for the most part, I think I want this to be the way I cut it. So let's do the first one. So this is my template, and I'm going to write template on it. And using this template, we're going to be making so many different formats. So simple, easy breezy. I guess all folders are slightly different. The dimensions on this one are just a hair different, which is fine. I'm just going to center it because I'm going to make a line there. And that's going to be my cut line. And I've determined an inch is about a good amount of space to measure out, and that gives me a good gutter to punch the holes. So I marked the top and the bottom, and now I'm going to cut that little lip off. So back to voiceovers, speeding up some steps that I know you don't need to have in the regular time. So here's where the template comes in. Look at, folks, we can just use the template to make marks where the holes go, and I don't have to measure, which is a nice little plus for me since I hate measuring. And after I punch the holes, I'm going to put it inside my binder and test it out. Make sure that it folds over correctly and works the way that I envisioned it working in my head. What do I want the first one to be? Well, I think what I would like to do is have it be something that is an organizer that shows that this is the beginning of the whole kit and caboodle. So here I am at the first layout, and I'm going to try on some of these papers from Sharon. And I think, like I mentioned before, I want this to be such an easy process, right? So that I can get through this project really easily and make something really beautiful. Now, I love that this has one, since this is the first page of the book. You know that this is one of my favorite pieces of paper. I like how that is on. I like that one. This one, I think I'd have to cut too many things out of it. This blue, I'm not feeling this blue with everything that's going to be going on. So this is going to be opposites here. So you kind of have to see how this is going to fit into the layout of the whole book. So now that I've narrowed it down to 3 choices, I'm going to lay them on top of the section and see how it looks overall next to the map as my first section opener. So in the end, I choose this paper. It fits well with my layout. It's neutral like I want it on the right-hand side. I like that the bird is diagonal, the pocket, and to me, it just feels right. That's the best way I can explain it. I really like this second piece, and I think I'm going to use it somewhere inside. So as I get started, I have to put a header or a footer piece of trim of paper because the binder I'm working with is not 8.5 by 11, so the inserts are not going to be 8.5 by 11. So I'm always going to need something on the top or the bottom, which is fine. But if you are working with an 8.5 by 11 binder, you are going to cruise along because it's going to make your life a lot easier, especially if you're working with a digital, because that's the dimensions. So I'm just going to trim off the edges and fold it over and start applying it to the front of my section. I want to rip the edge because I find that's a lot more interesting. It'll take ink very well. And I know I could have trimmed the paper exactly the same size as the insert, but I like folding it over. I think continuing the piece on the other side makes it a little bit more interesting. So I just put glue stick down and I will lay this piece down and fold it over. Look how easy this would be. I mean, Sharon's done really all the work with the design, right? I mean, look how much of the collage, it already looks beautiful. And all I did was cut out a piece of paper. So now I'm going to take my music paper and make the header. I've decided not to put a piece on the top and bottom and instead just do it on the top for simplicity and to make it look a little cleaner. And again, I don't like a straight line, so I'm just going to tear it a little bit so it has a little bit more interest and add some ink so that those, rough edges stand out. I think that'll make it look a lot nicer. And here I am going to glue it down on the front of the folder, and we are just cruising along with the front here. So now the music paper gets put in place. I will trim off the excess and fold over a piece so that will blend with that hard edge. And now all I really need is a little label or something. And of course I have the beautiful kit from Sharon that is free for you, free for me. And I will put the link in this video and below the video. It's 4 pages of beautiful ephemera that you can use in this project or other projects, and I just so appreciate it. So this really great little vintage label that she included is just perfect for me to put, the title of what this little book is going to contain. And even though that big, box of Happy Mail has a lot of things that are different, the one thing that's the same is it all came through the mail. So I decide mail is the word I'm going to put on this label. So now I use the Goldilocks technique. Do you know that technique? Where you try something on and something's too big, something's too small, something is just right. So I find the letters and I put them on my acrylic block for mail. And then I, of course, put them backwards because that's something I would do. And now I'm going to stamp them on the label. Truth be told, I know that this word is a little small for the label, but I didn't have that medium size print. So a little trick is if you take something that's a little small and you put it in a corner, it looks very intentional and that negative space really works for you. Versus if you put something too small in the center, it just looks like it's floating out there. So I still want to use that negative space. I want it a little bit more interesting. So I decide I'm going to take out my distress inks and I'm just going to spray a few down and activate them with water. And then I'm going to lightly touch them on the label because in my mind, I think I'm just going to make a few little, intentional dots or sprays or colors, just a little subtle grunge. And then I get that. And I love it. I can't explain why I love it, but that smear and that blue just works for me. So now I'm just going to put on a few little dots and let that dry. Okay, I think that's going to look great. I didn't intend for it to look like that, but I love it. I really do. Okay, so now it's time to lay out the right side, which I feel needs to be very plain. Again, that balance of busy with plain. And I try a ledger piece that I had, and all those numbers are just too much for me. So I just go get my Postmaster book again and decide to get a very plain blank page, something that can be very neutral and that I can build off of. If you notice, I kind of have that continuity going throughout this book of very busy and then very neutral and plain. And again, it's a combination of found papers with digital papers, just like you could do found paper with scrapbook paper. And I'm going to glue it on with a glue stick and then lay down that little jagged flap. And I, of course, remember that I did not ink it, so now I have to ink it, which that's not ideal to ink it after the glue's on, but hey, we all do it and it all happens and it's all good in the end. Now I just have to deal with the extra ledger paper. I can trim that or I can fold it over. Let's see, I know that I wanted to use that sheet, right? I wanted to use that number one that we didn't use already. I know I want a pocket over here. I know that already, but I don't think I'm going to use this. So let me just rip this off. One of the design elements I like is this thing here that sticks right out. I definitely want that to be a beautiful graphic from Sharon's kit so that it balances off this side right here. That is going to work great. So I need to cut this. So what I'm going to do is probably match this up down here. It won't be too evident. Look like it's intentional. That's the only thing with the size that I'm working with is that it's, you know, it's larger than the 8.5 by 11. If you're working with a binder that is 8.5 and 11 by 11, you are going to, or a little smaller, you're going to have no trouble because you are going to have the perfect size paper to just cruise along. You're not going to keep having to add these little headers like I'm going to have to. And I guess I could sew it when it's on, but I don't think I'm going to like the way that looks. So let me put a little bit of glue here just so that I can line it up before I put it in the sewing machine. And that's going to go on just like that. So I put the little stitching in there. Cut that tail off. Now the key is I'm going to have to punch through these holes so that I can see where to punch them again once I glue that paper on. And this is kind of why I think a hand punch is a little bit easier. I mean, I guess you could wait to the end and do the punching at the end. Probably would have made sense, but I'm just trying to feel my way through it. Maybe by the time I get to other stages, I won't be doing that anymore. All right, so let's glue this on. And I will just trim this little bit here and this little bit here. And I'm going to ink that just because I think it'll make the edge a little bit nicer. And then I'm going to come in here with music paper. And as you can see, I am repeating and repeating and repeating those same papers, even though I'm going to be making it different every time. I'm just trying to make that really nice continuity of the project. Let's get this in here. I can trim it after. Sometimes you get to the point where there's so many edges lining up, it's just really easier to trim the whole thing afterwards. I really love this little thing here that says Secondo and 64. I'm going to put that aside so that I can find that, because if I don't put it aside, you know I will never find it. Okay. Okay. I wanted to put a little tab. I want to put a little tab right here on the inside. I'm not sure that's going to stand out though now. Sharon has provided us these really great tabs in her kit. This is free for you. How exciting is that? I think I need to have one that's going to stand out against the background there. So let's see if this little bird guy will stand out. I think he will. So let's cut him out. This is the freebie kit that I know technically this is not the did you see what I did? I cut the wrong one. That's okay. That's right. I can fix it. I grabbed the wrong tab with the wrong. And she has cut lines on it and everything on there, but you know, it's me. So what I was going to say is this is a free digital download kit from Sharon at Mad Paper Crush. It is not on my Buy Me a Coffee page. It is on a link in that I will put in this video and underneath the box there. All it is it's going over to her page and you're going to download it from her site. It is called the Atlas Mini, and it's like a great beautiful 4-page ephemera download kit of designer papers that she has designed herself for this project, and they are free for you to use and in your projects. All right, so there's the birdie, cute little birdie. And now just some final touches on that tab. I'm going to ink the edges, and then I'm going to use a stamp that says number 1 because it's the first section in my book, and I just think it'll look cute on that little tab. Just kind of, you know, embellish it up a little bit. And then, of course, glue it on. And just glue it in place. So what am I going to do, right? This is my divider. It's going to flap over like that. What am I going to do? Well, here's my idea, friends. I thought, since this will be my Happy Mail binder that I will have all my pen pals in, it might be nice if I had some supplies that I could keep in here so that if I'm writing letters and I want to take my binder out for addresses or whatever, that I would have them. So even though this is not technically a spread layout for a pen pal friend, this is actually my first divider and I'm going to put supplies in it. I want to give a total shout out to somebody who sent me a Happy Mail, Nancy Seaver, and she owns a company named Paper Craft Arts, and she sells the most delicious paper crafty things. And I'm going to link a video below of an unboxing I did. I had sent her just a little tiny random act of kindness, and with no intent of getting anything in return. It was just a little thing she was looking for in one of our online groups, and I had it, so I sent it to her. And she sent me back this great box full of goodies from her company. And I will put that link below in the unboxing so you can see all the goodies that she sent me, because there's some really great ones. But here's the deal. This is the psychosis. This is the problem that why I'm doing this project. I still have most of the stuff she sent me untouched because I had to keep it together, because what if I needed to use it and I wanted to mention where I got it from? So I haven't used it. And that is the opposite of why she sent it to me. She sent it to me to use it. So this first page is dedicated to Nancy. She sent me supplies, so it's kind of hard to do a spread for her, but I have ideas. I want to put some of the cool things she sent me here so that I can use some of the items. I can mention her, and I get to finally, after this video, I can finally put some of these goodies into my stash and actually use them. So she sent me these really great little glassine envelopes. And I thought, how great would it be if I put these glassine envelopes on the front here and I put some stamps in them. So when it was time for me to mail some letters, I can just go in and get the stamps and I don't have to go farting around looking for stamps. So I have two of them. I have one I can put here and I have one I can put here. And I'm wondering if maybe what I should do is glue them, but then put a little pretty piece of washi down to really keep them in place. And then, see, she sent me 3 sizes here. I don't know if you can see it. And I'm not going to use the bigger one. That's like too big. So let me at least get these envelopes down. And then maybe I only need 2. Maybe I can put one here and one down here, and then put something right in the middle like a label that says stamps. So let's put this down and then we'll go from there. And since you know my plan, let's speed up some of these steps. I'm just going to take some art glitter glue and put that on the glassine bag. In case you don't know, art glitter glue dries clear and is probably one of the better glues to use with glassine. You have to be a little bit careful because glassine buckles really easy, just like vellum. So I'm really light with how much I use, and I just use it on the edge. So these little envelopes go really great right there. And then I'm just going to take some pretty washi tape and put the washi tape on the sides of the envelopes. I like that little touch, again, another layer, right? An interactive layer, a layer that sits on top of the base paper layer. I'm going to be using my Ledger washi, which is a Tim Holtz washi tape. And then I have, actually, I think both of the washi tapes I'm using are from Tim Holtz. They might be from different collections. I generally really like using his tape when it comes to like collage and things like this. They just usually blend really well. And now we have to decide what's going to go in the center there. And I have some ideas. I have labels, right? I have, ooh. I know red just kind of like ba-bam, right? This red too. I don't know. I kind of like the red. I like the fragile with care, and then I like the idea of putting the word postage right there. Or maybe I would put postage right here. So here I am stamping the word postage on this vintage style label. It's from a digital that I have, and I'm just doing it a little bit diagonal so it fits well and doesn't look too crowded. I think it looks super cute there. And I can't decide if I'm going to put it on the glassine bag or I'm going to put it in the center of this page. And then I realized, well, in order for me to really tell, I should be trying some postage in those envelopes to see how that looks. So I take some of the stamps that I have, and these are non-machinable stamps. I'm picking stamps that I might use if I'm sending a letter off and I'm using this binder. So I'm using non-machinable stamps, some international stamps, and then some regular postage stamps. Just a few little handy things that I can grab if I'm quickly sending out some happy mail. And as I'm putting these stamps in these little glassine envelopes, I'm realizing that the stamps will end up changing over time as I use them and put new stamps in, and I just really don't know if that little postage stamped label I made is going to look great, because I don't know how it's going to look next to the stamps that I put in the glassine bag. So I decided to put it in the middle with the vintage fragile label, and I will glue them down in the middle, and that will be that. I'm fine with that, and I like the simplicity of the design, and I like the pop of the red. So that's all good. So now the label's being put down, as you can see, and I think we are wrapping up this page. And yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. So we have the back, and let's see if our little label is dry. It looks dry, and I don't know, I really like it. Is that weird? Is it weird that I like it? I guess it doesn't really matter if it's weird because I'm making this project for me. Okay, so we have our mail insert, then it's going to flip. We'll have our stamps. And then what am I doing here? Well, here is, it's freebie time. So as you know, I have the vintage geography book that I showed you that I was going to be using. It's from the 1800s. It's old, and I really love the images and the maps inside. I decided that what I wanted to do was make a little mini booklet that's going to go inside of this book. And I want it to have information about my pen pals. So I have made a scan of 2 of the maps, Australia and the British Isles, because I have friends in both of these countries, and then the cover. And we are going to make that in a little booklet in a little bit. But I need to show you this now because what I want to do is make a pocket here that can contain that booklet. And I was thinking, we have the file folder we cut off here that would grow really well right here. So what I'm going to do, let me see if I can move this up a little bit so you can see better. Maybe I'll move out just a hair. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it a little past where I need it on both ends. If it was centered right here, and then I'm going to center it how I'm going to put it on, just like that. But before I do that, what I was thinking was I would take another label from Sharon's kit. This one, coincidentally enough, has things about postage on it, has addresses on it. I love it. It goes so well with the theme. I think I want to put that there, but I also have these great vintage post office, postmaster notices for holding mail. It's from that same grouping that I bought the ledgers from. And I will be having a freebie, not today, but in the future, that has some other pieces with this. And I thought it might be cool if I layered these pieces like that and made the pocket. That way it looks like everything is stacked. And then I thought I'd take the card that Nancy sent me and I could put it in like that, and also the booklet that I'm going to make. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, first of all, I'm going to ink this. And I do like, usually I wouldn't like a lot of this like blank area here, but because there's so much going on, I like a little rest. I like a little blank area that my eyes can rest. It is a little white. So of course, if there's just a little bit too much white, I just got to grunge it up a little. So I'm going to take out that ink that I used on the other label, and I'm just going to put a little bit on and activate it with water and let the oxide ink do its magic. And it really is magic. You know, if you don't have any oxide sprays or oxide inks, you know, invest in 1 or 2 of them. They are so fun to work with, and the little chemical reactions are fun to watch. So I'll let that dry now. So on the other side, what I would like to do on this side, I think, is I would like to make, since I don't have anything except the one delivery from Nancy, I would like to journal about every one of the mails that I get. And Sharon has included this little piece as part of her free digital, and I think it's just a perfect little piece to use for journaling thoughts on my spreads. So I'm going to make a tag out of it. I have these 3 plain papers, sort of like handmade papers, and I'm just going to choose a background. I'm going to choose this blue. I'm going to glue it on, and then I'm going to trim around the lined image. And I'm going to keep it sort of close except at the top because I do want it to be a tag. And I'm going to show you a little hack about how to make your tag tops symmetrical. You know, how to get that like sloped tag even on each side. This is not something I developed on my own. It's an idea that's been around a long time, and I don't even remember where I picked it up. But if you take a credit card, or if you take a gift card, or this is a hotel key, room key, and you just cut off the corner, you can pick a corner you like and then just use it as a guide and then flip it over and then use it on the other side. Since you're using the same angle, just flipped, it'll be exactly symmetrical. And it's so easy. So now I'm just going to throw in a grommet or an eyelet, whatever you choose to call it. I call it both because I'm not consistent. And then I'm going to try to put the little pocket down and glue it. Now I make sure the tag is in because I need to know how much space the entire item is going to take up on the page. If I glued the little pocket down without the tag in it, I wouldn't have that idea accurate, and then I could put the tag in and it might be lopsided, or the space might not be even in my head. And now I'm pointing out to the right that you also have to make sure that you don't put anything you glue over the area that the holes go in, right? So I've just added a little tiny tag, a little tiny label, and now I'm going to cut out the little sticker that Nancy included from her shop, and I want to glue on the back of the tag. And I think I'll take a white gel pen and probably type write in her socials, like her IG name, and maybe like her email address, stuff like that, so that if I ever want to contact her, I know how to get her. So I will glue that on there. And I'll do all my journaling off camera because, obviously this is something I'm going to be doing for myself, and not something that you really, need to see me do the writing part. You get the idea. Okay, so one of the things I do know is I'm going to want something up here. And since we're using this green booklet, I need to tie some green in. So I thought I would use one of these cards, and I think I'm going to glue that in right there. So let's cut out this little booklet, shall we? So making this booklet is pretty straightforward. First, I'm going to simply cut out the cover, and then the 2 maps that will provide the inside of the cover. I've reduced them to be a nice little size so that you can make this could be a little booklet, or whatever you want to do with it. I'm going to be making a little lined booklet where I'm going to keep track of my pen pals' birthdays, and then just sort of like give myself notes on things that I will need to remember during the year, like when to, mail Christmas cards, holiday cards internationally. I'm also going to take a piece of file folder, and I'm going to cut it on the fold, and I'm going to glue the covers to it because it was just a little bit too wonky. It wasn't structured enough as a cover with just the 2 pieces of paper. They were too light. So by cutting it on the fold of a file folder, I already have the scoring done for me because, again, I'm always looking for a way to be just a little bit lazy. I'm going to glue on the top cover first, and then they'll glue in the inside cover. And I always, when I'm doing the inside, I always do one side at a time, because if you try to glue the whole thing at once, inevitably you get a weird wrinkle right down the middle, and you'll get a bubble or something like that. It never goes well. And then I figured I can do the trimming once they're both glued in, which is what I'm doing now. And to make it look a little bit old and authentic, I'm going to make sure I ink it, and I'll take a black ink pad at the end and just run the edges of the cardboard or the item over the ink pad, and that's just going to cover any of the new, that sort of oak tag color of the file folder, and it will make it look kind of authentic and old, which is kind of, kind of the goal, right? We want our ephemera, our handmade ephemera, to look like what we're mimicking. Now, obviously, a geography book is not this small, but you know, you get the idea. And I'm going to put a little bit of washi on just to finish this edge here. It didn't quite make it to the end, and I kind of like that detail. And I'm really happy to like run out of washi because it means I'm using my stuff, which is a really good thing for me. So there's my little cover. I think it looks really cute. I really love that green patina. And here I am with this is what I meant about the ink pad, running it kind of around just to cover up any of the newness of that file folder that's sitting just under the surface. Doesn't that look like a cute little old book? All right, so then I'm just going to take paper from a composition book. Nothing special. It's just literally white paper from a composition book. And what I'm doing is I'm making a little booklet that is going to have 12 pages, one for every month. And each month will have the birthdays of my pen pals, but also dates that are important. So for instance, let's say I want to send a Christmas card to my friend Maud. I know I need to mail that probably the beginning of November. So I might put in the November page, mail international Christmas cards, just because I won't always remember these things. I'm not always that great about remembering things like that. Now these pages have a kind of a deckled edge where they came out of the book. We'll see if that bothers me once I cut these down. I want to check and make sure that they're a good size, and they are. They're almost exactly perfect, so keep that in mind. The scan works almost exactly perfect with a composition book, so you are welcome. Not that I'm even going to pretend that I knew that that was a thing, really. I should cut these on a cutting board. I'm probably pushing it, cutting all of these at once. Actually, let me put that back on it. A little bit big. See if I can cut down just these pages just a okay. Still a skosh big. See, it's moving because you shouldn't cut this many sheets at a time. And I know better than that. I really do. So the last step in this little booklet is binding it, and you could definitely do a 3-hole pamphlet stitch, but I'm going to show you again how lazy I truly am, and I'm throwing it in my sewing machine. And that worked just fine. Okay, so go with our little thing here. So you have the card that's going to go there. That looks super cool, right? And this, which is going to go back here with the postmark. Let me put a little bit of glue there so that I'm going to sew that in, but I want to put some glue in there first. I like that. And then I'm going to put this tag and it's got that blob right under there, which I really, really like. Unless maybe I want it to be more up here. I don't need it quite so low. Let's get that straight. Okay. I like how that looks in that pocket. It's kind of cool to me. I might add something else there, but I don't really, maybe a little postage stamp. But let's do some sewing first. I just want to sew this edge so that it's nice and tight. Okay, so now I just need to glue this on. I'm going to do this with Fabri-Tac. Put it in place, and I'm going to put a clamp on that to make sure it stays nice and tight. It appears that it's slightly going over, which means this is slightly too big. Okay. Now let's glue this down. Should I throw some stitching on that? Why not? And let's glue this down like a pocket. That way, if I decide to stick something in there someday, I could. Okay, now I can stick in Nancy's card, which is somewhere, right in there. I love the black details of the ink. I can put in the little pocket there. Oh my gosh, that is so cute. However, what I notice is that this pocket really needs to be glued down, especially if I'm putting something this thick in. I think I might need to put some more sewing in this, so let me do that. I actually just sewed this pocket on. Believe it or not, through all of that file folder and paper, my sewing machine did fine. The needle did fine. Everything did fine. It isn't the absolute neatest job I've ever done, but I'm okay with tatty things, so it's okay with me. I was more concerned with the fact that I needed Nancy's letter and this little booklet to fit in. How cute is that? Come on, I love it. This is what I most love about doing these projects, is that you saw I had zero idea. I mean, maybe not zero idea, but very little idea of what I was possibly going to do. And what I ended up with is, oh, I gotta fussy cut this. What I ended up with is a really cool project. The only things I have left to do is put something in this pocket and put a textile here. I have these little, I don't know if that's too much, but I have these little airmail envelopes that would look adorable, just kind of sticking out like that. Oh my gosh, I love it. I absolutely love it. Okay, I have this little bit of sari silk that's just like a cream color. Now, I guess the only other thing, and if I don't know if now I'm just like overthinking everything, but I'll mention it because it's the first spread and it might be something for me to think about. And I like it just a little bit poking out on the top there. is, would it make sense to put reinforcement labels around my holes? I think that would look kind of good. It would kind of finish off the piece. And I'm leaving them white on purpose because I think that it just really stands out better. I love it. I love that it's an organization piece. I love that it's a nod to Nancy and her business and her act of kindness to me. Obviously, I have some writing to do in my little notebook, and I have some writing to do on the tag, and I have some writing to do here. And then I have my postage here. Now, you can see it's not like completely flat. So because this has so much here, I'll probably put a vintage clip on top. This is an actual vintage bulldog clip. I love it. I think it looks great on that. Let's put it in our folder and see what happens. Okay, friends. Let's put the first piece in the book part. Now remember, this is backwards. Oh, I have to put the little stickies on this side too. And I could definitely stamp on top of them and distress them if I had wanted to, but I don't. I like the pop of white. Look, now the whole inside looks finished. It almost looks like a lap book. I still have to work on this tag, but I love it. And this can flip over. You can see a little of the sari silk up here. Flip it over, unclip this, and look, it opens up like that. It really does kind of remind me of a lap book. So I am going to take it outside where there is actual good lighting so that you can see this. And then that will be video number 3. You'll also have the freebie of the geography booklet that you can enjoy. And I think that's it. That's number 3. Yay! I'll see you guys for number 4. It's going to be my first Happy Mail spread with somebody's gifts in letters to me. So that's going to be the next one. Thank you so much for joining me, and I can't wait to see you again. Don't forget to look at the finished product in the sun right now. Here we are outside of my dark craft room with a little natural light, and I'm just really happy with how everything came out. I know there's a variety of styles and colors and a lot going on, but somehow it just feels very cohesive to me. I'm really happy with how it's going, and I'm really thrilled with how today's part of the project went. I want to thank Nancy so much for her contributions to today's project, even though she had absolutely no idea that I was going to be featuring her. Please check out her business, and I hope you'll check out my downloads. And I really hope that you will join me for the next episode of this project. We will be featuring my first pen pal. So thanks so much, and we will see you later. Bye.